Hey, Drew Peterson here, and a few days ago for St. Patrick's Day, I decided I would do a little something different with my LinkedIn profile. You might know that normally my headline reads, I help real estate companies recruit agents without making cold calls. And for St. Patty's Day, to have a little fun, I put in, I can help you catch leprechauns, and we split the pot of gold. I created a company called Leprechaun Trappers Limited, made myself a cheap leprechaun trapper, and even wrote up a little blurb in the comments about how we had the most humane leprechaun trapping methods in the industry. I wasn't really sure what type of response I'd get to it. LinkedIn, you have the option when you change roles or start a company to send out a notification to your network, which I did. And I was pleasantly surprised initially when I started to see a pretty steady stream of messages. Well, when I went in to check them, they all said almost exactly the same thing. Congratulations on the new role. I hope you're doing well. And it didn't take me long to realize that what was going on was people were getting on their LinkedIn mobile app. And when you do that, it gives you updates on what's going on with your network. You have the option then of saying congrats, which is what the button is. You press the button and then it auto populates a message that says word for word, congrats on the new role. I hope you're doing well. And so what people were doing is they weren't reading the headline or my title. They weren't looking at my profile to see what had changed. They were merely pressing a button. And that was their business networking or their attempt to do social media, to be on social media. And it just came across obviously as insincere. And I think out of the 50 or 60 messages that I received, only two people had clearly taken the time to see what change I had made in my role or what new position I was in. And then they sent messages that said creative or they laughed at it. I actually even had one gentleman who, I guess, in an attempt to make it look personal, added on to the end of congrats on your new role. I hope you're doing well. He put, I'm not surprised at all, which I suppose if I had been promoted or started my own company, that would have been a nice compliment. But because it was something about trapping leprechauns, it was very clear he had not read that. Unless, of course, he saw a future for me in leprechaun trapping that I guess I never knew I was destined for. And the reason I share this story is simply to say that there are plenty of people out there who are insincere on social media or whose idea of doing social media is liking or commenting on as many things as possible, whose idea of social media is connecting or friending as many people as possible. And that's the quantity approach to social media. And the reality is that it's very obviously insincere, and particularly so when something happens like what I did, where it was just a joke or a facetious change in profile. But had I have put on there that I was unemployed, all of those congrats on the new role, I hope you're doing well, would have really been insincere, if not even insulting, because I had perhaps lost a job and now people are congratulating me on being unemployed. So the point of this is to say, spend some time when you're on social media really looking at what your connections or your friends are doing and respond accordingly. Don't just like things or say great post because you see that someone has written an article. Take the time to read the article. Really go deep with it, because that's the real purpose of social media, is to build and maintain relationships. And believe it or not, it'll set you apart, because there are plenty of people out there who are basically robots on social media, who are just liking, commenting on things because they see it, and they're assuming that that's the equivalent of business networking or the equivalent of connecting through social media, and it's clearly not. So that's my challenge to you. When you're on social media, go for quality, go for depth instead of just going for pure numbers. Thanks so much for listening. I look forward to talking with you again next week. I'm going to go over some calls to action, how to use them in your marketing to generate recruiting appointments. Take care.